From WLWT, this is Let's Talk Cincy, presented by Western and Southern Financial Group. Put our financial strength behind you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Curtis Fuller, and welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. Today, a very special show because I have a very special person in the studio with me. Please welcome to our program. He is the Chairman, President, and CEO of Western and Southern, John Barrett. And first of all, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Curtis. I'm honored to be here.
I should start because talking about an honor, you have just received an honor that you'll receive officially in a couple of months. One of Cincinnati's great living Cincinnatians. Talk about that.
Stress the living. That's the most important part of it. Yeah. Well, it's a real honor. I mean, not that many people have gotten it. It's probably been around about 40 years, 50 years. And it's just sort of a Chamber of Commerce recognition of, hey, you've done a lot over the years, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, and now you were telling me that when your dad received the award, another special person that people are familiar with was receiving it that same year.
Ruth Lyons. And Walter Bartlett, who was head of AVCO Broadcasting at the time, accepted for her because her health was bad. But yeah, my father and Ruth Lyons got the same year together.
Wow.
Yeah.
People who know you. Welcome back, everyone. You know, you heard us talking about the late legendary TV host Ruth Lyons earlier. Her name synonymous with the spirit of the Christmas season. It's been decades since her iconic 50-50 Club talk show had been on the air here on WLWT. However, her legacy lives on with the Ruth Lyons Children's Fund that provides toys to sick children. And she is also remembered at the National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting in Westchester.
Let us entertain you.
She started off in radio, and she was an intern. And at the time, radio programs were designed for women specifically to teach them how to cook and clean better because they felt that's what women's interests were. Well, they could only be hosted by women. The woman who was the host of the show was gone. Ruth Lyons was an intern and the only other woman around. They brought her in to host the show. She thought that women valued more things than cooking and cleaning, and she opened up the subject matter, and the phones exploded, and her radio career began because she thought women were interested in a lot of different things, and the sponsor loved what she did with her show. She leveraged that, and she understood the role of society and the value of individuals and people. So she would utilize her position to raise funds and raise awareness of different social issues, of women's issues. Back in 1937, there was the Great Flood around here. Ruth Lyons was involved in her radio show, and she actually leveraged her radio show to generate money to help the flood victims and to help the American Red Cross. So in 1937, she generated $56,000, which was the highest amount ever collected by the American Red Cross to relief of disaster. Her daughter, Candy, was hospitalized locally, and she was visiting Candy over Christmas and realized that the kids just got an orange as an extra present during the holidays. So she leveraged her personality in the media to start the Ruth Lyons Christmas Fund to ensure that all children hospitalized during the holiday season would get a gift of some kind. And it's just grown from there, from the 40s on up till today.
I'm Sharon Roggenkamp. I'm a docent at National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting. The museum really preserves not only the legacy of Voice of America and Bethany Station and its role through World War II and the Cold War and the present today in terms of radio reaching across the globe to listeners, but is the legacy of WLW, radio and television stations, the story of Powell and Lewis Crosley, the brothers who invented their media empire. This building preserves all of these exhibits, preserve all of those stories and history, but Ruth Lyons is a special star in our set of exhibits because of her influence and what she did, and some of these artifacts are very precious and rare. It is a rare artifact, and it was created in the years 1966-67. It shows the total amount raised, which was around $848,000 for the Ruth Lyons Christmas and Children's Fund. Today, that amount would be close to $7 million. So that was created especially to put on the set of the television show and show it to the viewers so that they could see how their contributions were very significant. We have TikTok and Instagram today. We have those influencers. Back in her decade and day, she was just as creative and influential. She did have a line of clothing that was designed and marketed here in the region. These dresses also sold with a heart pin. You could either buy the dress and the pin or get the pin so that you would be wearing the Ruth Lyons items. So in the 1930s, you had massive cameras, you had massive, very hot lights, and when they were experimenting with television and she was on the set, she had live flowers. But underneath that heat and those spotlights, by the end of the show, they were tattered and in very poor condition. She still loved to throw that bouquet into the audience, and they were thrilled. But when they kept doing this, they were like, these flowers are horrible. And she said, you know, a second thing, I hate this ugly microphone. I would love to disguise it. So they did the artificial arrangements. They would often key them to the seasons. So that was really one of her signature trademarks, to have that microphone covered by the flowers.
Even though she hasn't been on the airwaves in decades, her influence is felt. One of the things that we do to describe her efforts here is we kind of call her the first Oprah. She created that type of daytime talk television show that Oprah perfected and everybody knows. So her legacy lives on by those nice daytime TV talk shows where they interview people and they have the entertainment and just apply to a wide variety of interests.
There will never be another Ruth Lyons. The National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting is located in Westchester. The address is 8070 Tylersville Road, Crosley Boulevard. The museum is open on weekends from noon until 4 p.m. You can also call 513-777-0027 to arrange group tours. And thank you for your continued support of the Ruth Lyons Children's Fund. You can mail in donations. We have the address there on your screen, or you can scan the QR code to find out how your gift helps children in area hospitals. All right, and also don't forget about the Nativity Crib over in Eaton Park. It is a wonderful, wonderful project, as we talked about earlier in the program. It's been around since 1939, this relationship with Western and Southern, and of course the Salvation Army. Well, that does it for the program today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Curtis Fuller. Hope to see you again next time for another edition of Let's Talk Cincy.